Hello and welcome to this webinar hosted by On-Device Solutions. I am Navdeep Singla, founder and CEO of On-Device Solutions, and I'm joined by my colleague Lalit Sharma, who is our pre-sales solution director. First of all, I would really hope that you and your loved ones are keeping safe and well during these pandemic times. And we will start the webinar now. Just so that everyone knows, this session is being recorded and the Q&A we will do at the end. So we will unmute all the lines. Till that time, the lines are on mute. If you have any question, meanwhile, you can always type it in the Q&A box, which is available in the WebEx window. So we all heard about COVID-19, and that's been the case at least since January. Now, as of now, 90% of the world's economic activity has been impacted in some way, shape, or form by COVID-19. And one-third of the humanity is actually under some sort of a lockdown, which is unprecedented in today's times. So we have also sadly lost thousands of lives during this pandemic, which is very sad across the world. Now, on the positive side, we see that infection rates are flattening out, and hopefully, in few weeks' time, the lockdown process will be eased out across the world. All that remains to be seen, the actual timing of that release of the lockdown norms. So it is quite a lot of research recently been done on the digital transformation and the impact of COVID on digital transformation. Now, there is a wider consensus that this COVID-19 pandemic had made us realize the actual potential of digital transformation. And now coming out of it, companies will accelerate their digital transformation after COVID. Now, we have to think of the ways like how digital transformation will be enabled. Now, some of the use cases are quite straightforward we can think of. For example, you will see a lot more usage of web conferencing facilities because people are not used to using Skype, Teams, and then WebEx and Zoom. So that is one direct implications. So people will use more collaboration software to work together. Now, all those are quite obvious use cases and everyone is aware of them. Our focus here in this session is the workers who actually are physical workers. So people who need to go to factories, people who need to go to mines, people who need to go to plants, go to the oil rigs, go to the field to repair utility assets. So those are the people who we focus on. So this session will explore how those people will have digital transformation included in their day-to-day life going forward. So that's our focus, and that also talks about our strength as a company that is on device. So as the name says, we believe that the next wave of efficiencies in enterprise software will come from enabling those physical field workers or factory workers and enabling them with the information they need to do the jobs they do. So that is very important, and that's where there is a lot of efficiency still to be gained, and that's what we do at On Device. Now, as an employer, all the companies got a legal duty to ensure health and safety of the workforce. So how do companies will deliver that post COVID-19? Here are some of the ways we think this will happen in the world after COVID-19. So we all know about social distancing by now. There is a recommended 2-meter gap between two individuals when they interact with each other. Now we see that being in place for a while in the workplace as well. So that is quite natural, gonna be the norm, and we have to ensure the processes are adapted to ensure social distancing. We also will see more routine health checks before and after the shift. Sadly, in London, like 9 of the bus drivers lost their lives to COVID-19 while serving and ferrying people from one place to another. So similarly, we need to ensure workers do some sort of a health check before and after they start their shift. And then there will be minimum interaction between the workers. We need to make sure it's not just the workers, but also the things they touch. So they are also not in contaminated in any way, shape, or form. So most likely in the maintenance processes, we see a lot of paper being exchanged, whether that is instructions, manuals, or just the work orders, or notes, or pictures. So all of those things we need to think about how to digitize them. There should also not be sharing of IT equipment. Now we will be surprised how many of these field workers and factory workers actually share devices or computers. And then there is a natural hygiene factor about the tools they use or the workplace they work in. So there will be more rigorous hygiene routines in place. We will also see more adoption of robots in the production process. Now that has been a trend over the last few years anyway, but that will be accelerated, we see. And there will be more use of personal protection equipment like masks and gloves. They will become like a normal day-to-day sight is what we see. Plus, there is another element of self-service warehouses where you can just go in using your ID card and take the stuff you need to do your job. So minimizing the human interaction. So these are some of the themes we see enterprises will adopt or keep in mind to ensure they are being uh, taking the legal responsibility of health and safety of the workforce quite seriously. Now, this particular session, as I mentioned, is around physical workers, and the use case we're going to focus primarily on is asset maintenance. Now, assets could be anything which you care about, which is normally costly. So, for example, for a manufacturing company, it could be the manufacturing machines. For a utility company, it could be the substation equipment or the cables or the gas pipelines. For an oil rig, it could be the equipment to extract the oil. For a mining company, it could be the equipment used to actually get the minerals out. So the assets could be anything depending on industry, but the processes pretty much reflect the same end-to-end flow. So this is where you have a technician, which we got on the left-hand side. And before he starts the work, he needs to do some preparation. And for that, he needs to talk to his supervisor who will have a bigger picture view of the work. So he will allocate work. And depending on where you are on the maturity curve in your organization, some of those touch points may already be digitized, some are not. So we are giving a holistic picture. So he will take his work instructions and any manuals from the supervisor. He has to go to the store to get any material or equipment he needs to do the job with. He will most likely have some sort of back office or shared terminal where he needs to go and either print out the work orders and other things. And then he needs to go to the printer, get the work orders out. So all of those are the touch points which he needs to go through. And then he goes to the job and then he carries out the work, whatever is required. And then in the end, the reverse process starts. You need to submit all the paperwork to the supervisor. And by the way, that includes the checklists as well, because normally as part of operation, they have to do health and safety checklist, any equipment condition monitoring checklist, any other checklist to measure some other readings. So there are quite a few different checklists depending on the process you run. And then you need to store everything back and then deposit the materials, and then you have to update the data back. So this is typically what a process for asset maintenance looks like. Now the process could be used in a way for emergency, breakdown, preventive, and other all type of maintenance processes you can think of. Now what we see is that this process needs to change in the 2B world after COVID. So what we are looking at is the technology which is enabled on a personal device or an enterprise device which is allocated to that individual. Now he can access all the data he needs about the job, about the asset he's repairing, about any instructions, any material or equipment he need. So all of that data should be just available to him. There shouldn't be any need to go to a central system or to go to the supervisor. It should be just available to him that what he needs to do. And by the way, supervisor should also have a corresponding role in the app where he can allocate work. He can see how the work is progressing in his, let's say, the work center or his unit, how the things are going on, all through a device while he's still on the shop floor and helping and looking at the overall operations. So all those touch points should be pretty much not required because data is flowing freely. And then on the reverse side, once the job is done, you have to just do the same, update everything without use of any paper. So everything is digital going back into the system, which then enables the store view, the supervisor view, and all the others. So this is what we see how the maintenance processes will be after COVID-19. There will be minimum touch points and it's more efficient process as a result. Now, to be honest, if you ask us maybe 3 months ago, was that the intended outcome when we built solutions around what we just talked about, the social distancing? And the answer is plain no. We don't like social distances just because of the messaging in it. People like to talk to each other, share a cup of coffee or beer, whatever they like. The real advantages are further than the social distancing. So for example, just by enabling information in the field, you can actually improve the efficiency of the process by 30 to 40%. And we got customers who actually are SAP official case studies who already achieved the 35% process efficiency using these solutions. Now, by enabling data capture digitally, you actually enable real-time decision making because the data is available in your backend system as and when the changes are logged or the data is captured in the field. So there is very minimum lead time in between having the data captured and it is being available in the backend system. So that is in a way helping making the whole process more efficient, making it more visible and making it all more auditable. So there is a growing demand due to ISO and other audits for various companies to show the steps they are taking. And this could be a great way to show that not only you care about your people about in terms of social distancing, you actually log all the maintenance activities in your system and then you can show them the audit log. So all of those things result in very uh, good improvements in terms of the productivity and then decrease in terms of the safety incidents. So overall, the ROI is here, not in social distances. So distancing, that is just a side benefit, what we see of the whole process. Now, who we are, and we kept this slide a bit later just to cover the key aspects first. So we are an SAP partner who specialize in field services and asset management applications. So we focus on the factory workers, field workers, and giving them the information they need digitally. That's what we do primarily. We got customers in utilities, manufacturing, oil and gas, and social housing, facilities management, various industries. We have our own solution which we deliver, which we will talk about briefly after this. Plus we also implement SAP's mobile solution. That's what we do and that's what we're good at. Now in terms of our product portfolio, we have 3 products right now which are in the market. So myJobCard being the flagship one. So that's a mobile work and asset management solution which comes with pre-built integration for SAP ECC and S for HANA. Then we have a second product called myAsset, and that is primarily an app for the customers and managers so that they can see the asset history around maintenance just by scanning the barcode on the asset. And then my warehouse is for the warehouse or the store staff who can do the goods receipt, goods issue, and physical stock movements using a mobile app. And in case of like unmanned and automated warehouse, this app can be used by the technicians as well. So we have seen some examples where companies have mainly at least the satellite warehouses. They make totally digital. There is nobody there. It's a small store and you got a very spread out workforce. You just enable this app and then you can just do the goods issue as and when you need yourself. Now, talking about myJobCard, there are a few differentiators which we will talk about later. And there is one other product I must mention, which is My Planner, which is in the build phase right now. And that will enable even supervisors to plan the work and do like a Gantt chart and other views to allocate work. Now, how are we different and how our solutions are different? We've got long history of working with SAP customers enabling their field workforce. So we have experience all the way going back to SAP MI, which was built on NetWeaver stack, then Cyclo, and then Sybase, and the recent technology around SAP Cloud Platform. So we have taken the best of all into the solutions. Then we looked at what our customers are looking for in terms of the solutions, like a dynamic checklist or a form engine was a key requirement. For example, we have a feature in myJobCard where you can tailor the solution to your data capture needs. Now, for one company, it could be a customer feedback form. For other, it could be a quotation form. For third, it could be a health and safety form, which Chalk talked about already, like worker could do a health and safety check before he does the job beginning. So all those things can be tailored by the business users without any programmer being required. Plus, you got a very modern UX is part of our key strategy. So we built these apps natively to give the best user experience and the best adoption to the field workers and factory workers. And then it comes with a supervisor view, as we talked earlier, which enables you to allocate job and keep an eye on what's going on in the work center. The solution works on the cloud, follows voice to text features natively available in these devices. It also supports push notifications and GIS integration with Esri and Google Maps. The solutions are certified with SAP and is based on modern OData-based integration, which is open standards. And of course, it comes with a very flexible approach, which comes with a small supplier. So that is also available. Now, a little bit about the architecture of the solution. It follows a very SAP recommended standard architecture. You got ECC or S4HANA in the backend system, which is exposed either through embedded gateway component or an external gateway component. Then you got a cloud connector to securely connect all SAP Cloud Platform services with your SAP instance. And that is one cloud connector for all services, not per service. And then in the end, you got mobile devices where our app runs, the client-side element. Now, we not only provide the client-side mobile app, we actually provide you an add-on which sits in your ECC or S4HANA system so that the solution is plug and play. So you don't have to worry about integration, which is not easy. So we do the hard work and our add-on enables that integration out of the box. Now, a couple of success stories we would like to talk about. The first success story is for a facilities management company in UAE. So they use this solution to run their various facilities management processes, and that include like planned maintenance work, but also ad hoc work where customer just calls in and they need some help with, let's say, air conditioning as such. So they can go in there, generate a quotation in the field, and then accept or decline based on customers' feedback in the field and carry out the work there and then. So that has actually resulted in an efficiency of 30 to 35%. Now this is an official SAP customer case study now built using SAP Cloud Platform and sold through SAP App Center. And you can watch the video which is available on our YouTube channel, and the link is below, and you can search for on device on there. But you can see like this is where the customer is very happy. They like the way very quickly we deliver the solution rather than spending months and months, and it just works. And everybody loves the UI. Despite the workforce not being highly educated, they were still able to use it quite easily. The other case study we have is for a global food packaging business. They're one of the biggest worldwide with around 40 factories in the whole world. So they had issues with like mainly the UI of SAP and how SAP GUI is not quite tuned for operators and the technicians' usage. They also had issue with things not getting logged into the system. And overall, they were looking at Industry 4.0 and how they can enable that using a digital set of solution. So they did like this solution. They spent almost 9 months to choose the right solution, which included 2 proof of concepts to prove the solution works. And that's what we like the most. Like, you try the solution, then you buy. That's how the consumer way of selling is now entering the enterprise sales as well, and we are quite tuned to that. So they like the solution. The solution is already live in 8 factories, and further deployment in 20 factories is ongoing. They chose Windows 10 because enterprises, we see quite a big adoption of Windows 10, primarily because of single device strategy for them, because they can use it both like as a plug-in laptop, plus the wider adoption of Office 365 makes it quite a interesting use case to use Windows 10. So this is another manufacturing case study we have, but the processes are quite similar. The same processes are quite easily adaptable to a utility company, to a mining company, to an oil and gas company, and others, wherever the asset maintenance is carried out. Here are some of the screenshots. As I mentioned, we quite emphasize on the user experience, because for us, user adoption has been one of the key challenges for businesses, especially with the field workers. So for that, you need to give them the best UI and the best performance, and there is no other option. So we take the pain for you to build these apps natively for Android, iOS, and Windows, so that you get the best solution without the investments you would otherwise have to make. So this is both like smart form and tablet form factor. It is available. So this is pretty much our offer, keeping COVID in mind. So we know there are quite a few SAP customers who have either not adopted mobile, or they have adopted in some way, but haven't quite achieved the outcomes they were looking for. So we are offering myJobCard licenses for free for the first 6 months. So that gives you enough time to try the solution out, see if it works, and if it works, which we are quite confident it will, then carry on using it. And that gives them like a very low cost way to try the solution out in a very standard way. And we are investing from our side by offering 6 months free. Now, in a typical process, we would say like we can organize individual demos for you, go through your specific usage of SAP. So in week 1, we can do that. And then week 2, we can set up the whole ECC landscape, and then we can set up the SAP Cloud Platform in week 3. And then within few weeks, we can have the standard myJobCard solution up and running using our rapid deployment solution, which we have. So that gives you like 6 months from that point onwards to try out the solution and how it enables you to prove the social distancing measures, but at the same time also gives an opportunity to improve your processes, make them more compliant, and make data available more real time. So that's what we are all about. We are here to help, and we got capacity to help. So we are open for any questions, any comments you might have. So what I will do, I will unmute the lines if I can work out. So go to attendees, select all, unmute. So I've unmuted you all. So please mute yourself if you don't have any question to ask. But if you have any question, please feel free, and I will look at the Q&A block as well. Okay, looks like we don't have any questions on the audio. So let me just look at the Q&A box. Yeah, so please feel free to type in your questions in the Q&A box if you have any. So one question is on S/4HANA support. So we do support S/4HANA as well as ECC, and one of our customers actually transitioned from ECC to S/4HANA after the implementation. So we actually worked closely with them because add-on supported S/4HANA, and now they're live on S/4HANA. So your actual investment is forward protected in the future as well. Another question is what type of authentication mechanisms are supported? Now this is where we leverage SAP Cloud Platform or SMP's authentication mechanism. And typically you can either use a SAML2 based authentication, or you can integrate with your SAP backend system and authenticate using your SAP backend user ID and password. Or you can even use integration with Active Directory. So that authentication mechanism is also supported. The next question is, does it support EHP4? And the answer is yes. So solution supports ECC 6 onwards plus NetWeaver 7.1 onwards. So that's what we support, but we can have a more specific conversation of that. I think that's pretty much it then. So we don't have any more questions. Hope you enjoyed the session. And if you have any question, you got our email IDs on the slide. You can drop us a line and we'll be happy to assist you. Thank you very much. Have a nice day.